Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I'm Chuck Gibson. Welcome to this edition of Tracking Evagoras Papasavvas Racing. This is a race report, Evagoras. It's so good to have you with us. Even if by phone, welcome once again to Tracking Evagoras Papasavvas Racing, Evagoras.
Thank you for having me on once again, Chuck.
Hey, as always, Evagoras, it's my pleasure. And it's even more fun for us this time because you're coming off of a very exciting race weekend in New Jersey with some pretty good results. However, before we get to all the great news from the Sunday races, let's just chat a little bit about, kind of a tough day for you Saturday in that first race at the New Jersey Motorsports Park. So what the heck happened there, and what can you tell us about race number 1 on Saturday?
Yeah, so Saturday was pretty up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Qualifying in the morning was quite good. Qualified second, but pole sitter got a penalty, so I started first. Starting on pole for race 1, but it kind of went downhill right from the beginning. As the second place car jumped the start, putting me in a bad position. At this track, it's super hard to pass. Not being in the lead is definitely not ideal. So he jumped the start, fell back, and then that put me in a bad situation to get tangled up with another driver trying to make a move around me. And he spun in front of me, and then I took avoiding action, but I broke my front wing in the process. So we had to box pit for a new front wing, and we were like 2 laps down. So then by that point, we were just like, what we're gonna do? We're just gonna put on the new wing, and then we're gonna go set a fast lap, so that way I can start good for the next race. And that's what we did. I put in the fastest lap, so that would have me starting first for the next race. But then after that, we just parked the car, saved the tires, and finished 6 laps down, unfortunately, in the first race.
Quite a story. And just a side note for the listeners, you mentioned, as it turned out, you qualified 2, moved up to the pole start when the guy that qualified for the pole position was penalized and was dropped back to a later starting spot. But that also put right next to you, technically right next to you, Brady Golan, who you are directly competing with for the Driver Championship, with you in the lead in the Driver Championship standings, and Brady Golan, right there behind you. And then he's the one that jumped the start. And
he's the one who jumped the start,
Yeah, and again, that's just for the listeners. He jumped that start, and ultimately a protest had to be filed because I guess as the race went on, he held that one position, and the unofficial results at the end of that race had him first, but then that protest had to be filed, and he was dropped back in the final standings, despite the fact that you did not, that you parked early on that race. It didn't hurt as bad as it could have if Brady collected all 25 of that winner's points. So that's something that took place on Saturday. That's behind you now. Hey, lots of credit. I really appreciate your sharing the strategy of, let's get off the track, put the new wing on there, and go out and set a fast lap, which in fact you did do, which set you as the pole sitter for the second race of the weekend, race number 1 on Sunday. What can you share with us about how things went in that first race on Sunday?
Yeah, first race on Sunday was a little bit better, but still not completely ideal. Just kind of, the setup wasn't completely there with the car, so we were struggling a little bit with the setup, which is okay. That's how racing is. You're not always going to get it right off the bat. That's completely okay, but just kind of struggled with the setup, but finished P2 in the end. So, race 2 on Sunday, first race on Sunday. Finished second, started first, lost the lead, tried fighting for it, but just ended up could not holding it. But yeah, so just pretty smooth race. Was in first, went down to second, was able to hold second position, but yeah.
That, and again, you and I have gone back and forth talking about that. The starting position on the grid from the from the standing start. So the second race, the first race on Sunday, you guys did accomplish a standing start, correctly?
Yeah. So on Sunday, I believe we did do a standing start. The only race that we did not do a standing start was the first race.
Yeah, that's the one, of course, where Golan jumped to start on a rolling start. But so the bottom line, what I'm getting to, of course, in that second race, so you're on a pole position, and this is what you and I have talked about. Sometimes it's actually better to have that number 2 on the starting grid, because sometimes that will put that driver on the outside in a position to make an early pass for the lead. And I'm guessing, Cooper Shipman was there that was sitting next to you at the start of that race and was able to get that move early. And then, as you said, you managed to maintain that P2 and a great bounce back after Saturday's challenges to take the P2. But that brings us to Sunday afternoon, Evagoras, and you know what? Did you start number 4 in the 4 spot?
Yeah, I started 4th because we had the 4th fastest lap.
Yeah.
Which is not ideal, but still starting in the top 5, so I'll take it.
Outside second row, right? Outside second row.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
That was a standing start. I had a good start initially. It was a standing start, good start, and then the 2 cars in front of me, my teammate Kai and Cooper Shipman, they both came together on the exit of turn 1 and crashed. And that I was able to get around them safely. And then it was kind of just Brady was in front of me. He has a little bit of a gap because I had to swerve around to avoid the crash. But, as the laps ticked down, I was slowly catching up to him. The car was really good. The car felt really good in the third race, and I was able to catch up to him. And then I was able to make a good move around him. It's hard to pass around here, so you have to play it smart. You can't just be all aggression. You have to be smart with your passes. And I was able to make a smart pass around him going into turn 2. And then literally that same lap, my front wing broke.
Oh,
and
no.
it didn't break from any kind of contact or anything. It just broke and just snapped off itself. The main plane and the end plate of the left side of the wing just fell off mid-corner. So then there's still like 20 minutes left in the race, so I had to deal with the broken wings for 20 minutes. But I was just able to adapt to my surroundings, adapt to the car and everything, and kind of try to find little things that could help me out. And I was able to hold off Brady with a broken wing and finish first.
Oh my gosh! I did not know that you fought that broken wing in race 3 until you just shared that with us. Wow, that's some driving.
Yeah.
So you get to take a lot of the credit yourself for that P1 in race number 3. So bottom line is the weekend you grabbed a P1 and a P2 on Sunday, which, as I have it, and, I've looked at the website, the FR America's Championship website. Sometimes they take a while to update, but and I know that those points from the P2 and the P1 on Sunday were enough for you to maintain the driver championship lead at the end of the weekend, even though Golan is, inched a little bit. He stays within, what do you want to say, within reach, within fighting distance. So you're going to get to battle again the next time you guys are out. But I don't know if you're aware of it, but Evagoras, what I have is, at the end of the New Jersey race weekend, you're sitting atop. I'm going to go with the top 3 because you and Golan and Shipman have really been battling for that driver championship with you on top, most of the season. But still holding that number 1 spot with 203.5 championship points. Compared to Golan's 192 after he collected he collected just minimal points over the weekend with his, with his penalty for jumping the start and so on and so forth. But and likewise for Shipman, he did manage to go and pull that P1 in the first race on Sunday. So he gained some nice points, but Golan is behind you at 192 compared to your 203.5, and Shipman is back of both of you in the third spot with 159 points. So you're just going to continue to battle as you head out to the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in September, right?
Yep, yeah, looking forward to Canada. I've never been there before, never been to that track that we're going to. But I've heard great things about it, and I'm really looking forward to it, so it should be a good time.
That sounds like something definitely to look forward to. What else, going back to just the weekend just completed, what are some things, you broke down the racing pretty well for us. What else stands out for you about the weekend at New Jersey? Again, because that was your first time racing on that track as well. So was there anything that stood out for you about it, or that you look forward to the next time there, or you're like, well, that's not my favorite track? What do you tell us what you think about NJ?
Yeah, probably it's not my most favorite track for sure. The track itself is quite good. I like driving the track, but to race there, it's a little bit difficult, especially in open wheel cars with a lot of downforce. It's a little bit difficult. So yeah, but it's a nice facility. The track's nice, and it's definitely a good place to go to just get some laps in whatever car it is. So yeah.
I gotcha. That's interesting. And again, and then in the racing, I know what stood out for me as you were sharing a story is it turns out that New Jersey track, nice or not, tough track to pass on, huh?
Yeah, pretty tough to pass. There's not many straightaways, and there's just a bunch of long corners. So yeah, it's pretty tough to pass there. So you have to be smart about how you make your moves.
Yeah. What did you find in terms of, or ultimately for you, the strategy? Where were you looking to make passes as you figured out the track and had a little experience making some laps around it? What were you thinking was the best place to, try to find a passing opportunity?
Pretty much. I think, in my opinion, it's anywhere. To be honest, if they can make a mistake.
I got
so
you.
That's really how it is. Just try to pressure them into making a mistake or put them in a vulnerable situation, and then you can take advantage of it. So pretty much anywhere if you can just put them in a certain situation.
Oh, I love that, Evagoras. Now I'm gonna really put it on you. So put us in the driver's seat for a second, and what are we doing behind that wheel to pressure the guy in front of us that you're hoping to make the next move and get by, especially if you're driving in in that number 2 spot and looking to take the lead. What are you doing to pressure the driver in front of you?
Some things that you could be doing is just make sure to fill up their mirrors so that way they can feel the pressure of you behind them, and then also when going into some corners, pressure them into breaking too late into the corner, so that way they have a poor exit, and then you can set up nicely, get a good exit, and then you can get them going into the next corner if you're side by side with them.
That sounds it just sounds intense. I'll put it that way, which reminds me. You're in the race, and I'm guessing that really, every minute of every race is intense for the driver. I've not experienced it. I have no idea. That's something that and others like you who have driven in races know. But I got the sense from reports, over the weekend that race number 3 on Sunday, that second race, was just really an exciting and intense race for the fans too. Do you get to feel that? This is really a good race that people are enjoying, or is it just the same to you, the same intensity? I'm racing, and you're not really aware of, is this a great race for the fans? How's that for you?
Yeah. You definitely feel that. You definitely feel that some races are more intense than others. If it's a super close race and there's not much time left in the race, compared to a race that everyone's super spread out. and not much action was happening. But yeah, it was a good race. It was a good race for sure, and I could tell while I was driving.
Oh wow! I'm kind of surprised. I wasn't sure that would really, translate for the drivers what's going on, with the fans around them. But that's pretty neat insight. Well, the other thing which you just reminded me, so as we talked about, what do you do or what might you do to put pressure on the guy in front of you so you can find an opportunity or help create an opportunity to make that pass. At the same time, Evagoras, especially in a race like that final race Sunday, and credit to you because at the end of the day, you're P1, but not only at the beginning of the race when you're fighting for that position and trying to get the lead, then finally getting the lead, now the guys that are chasing you in that race are pressuring you from behind. How, what's that like in terms of, being aware of the guy, like you said, the guy's probably filling your mirrors and probably trying to push you to make a late, a late entrance into a turn, or what's that like to fight off that pressure or try to, maintain the calm and cool so that you don't make a mistake?
Yeah, if you're in front and there's a car behind, yeah, it is more difficult for sure, but especially at a track where it's hard to pass, you can kind of use that to build yourself some confidence. Like, it's hard to pass already at this track, so if you just stay cool and calm and you just do your laps, you hit your marks, do what you're supposed to do what you have been doing, then everything will be good. And obviously, it's easy to say it, but it's harder to do it. But yeah, that's pretty much how it is.
Without a doubt, harder to do than to say. So, well, hey, at least today, as you join us here, and again by phone, join us here on Tracking Evagoras Papasavvas Racing. You get to share the good side of it. A P2 and a P1, some great racing over the weekend, and some great racing to look forward to for you. So, listen, Evagoras, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to share some insights about it. And we will look forward. We'll be talking to you again, I'm sure, as long as you agree that that's okay to do. As you head into that September 3rd through September 6th, when you head to Ontario, Canada, for the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park race. And again, just thank you so much for your time and continued good wishes for you, my friend.
Yep, thank you, Chuck. It's always a pleasure being on here and talking about racing.
And so for the listeners, thank you for joining in, and hopefully we shared some great insights with Evagoras Papasavvas Racing. So thanks again to Evagoras, and thank you, listeners, for joining us. For now, I'm Chuck Gibson, and that's Tracking Evagoras Papasavvas Racing.